Hi friends, hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Hello. Okay, first of all, candle of the day before I forget. We're doing Champagne Toast again from Bath & Body Works. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite candle. Don't quote me on that because every time I go in Bath & Body Works and I smell a new one, I'm like, oh, this is the fave. But I've had one of these since last year and I love it. So Champagne Toast, literally amazing. A lot of black smoke coming out of her today. First things first order of business, we are going to be talking about the finale of the Shane and Jeffree series, but I also wanted to just plug my merch really quick. I made holiday merch. I didn't make this. I'm not that creatively talented, but my merch designer, Madeline, made this awesome bun merch and it's officially for sale. It's gonna wait till Glomus, but if people wanted it for like Christmas, I wanted you guys to be able to order it in time to get it for Christmas. So this is what it looks like. I'm obsessed. There's also a logo design in both black and white, so it could be on different colored shirts. There's a ton of colors, a ton of size options, and I'm very excited about this launch. This is probably my favorite merch I've ever put out. I got this yesterday and I've been living in it, so I'm really excited. So if you want to go check that out, I'll have it linked below. That's first and foremost. Second of all, let's talk about this series. Oh my god, I feel like it was crazy. First and foremost, I want to thank Shane for putting a clip of my video in the series. I had people from my real life texting me freaking out. I had you guys messaging me and tweeting me freaking out. And it is a very cool and very surreal feeling to know that I was in a very, very, very small way a part of something that is that big, that millions of people are gonna like see my face. And I think that's very cool. I think if I had like a year ago when the first Jeffree Star series came out, you had told me that like in the next one I would be in it, I would have like never believed that. So that is very cool. And I want to thank Shane because I know, I really appreciate it. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was cool that he gave the drama channels kind of their little moment because I do think he does have an appreciation for drama channels based on what I know of him, what I've heard. Like, I think he has a very good appreciation for drama channels. With that being said, this video is not going to be me completely 100% praising the video because I do feel there are, as just an objective reviewer in my opinion, some critiques. So while I can say thank you for that and I appreciate it and it was very cool and crazy, I also feel like there were some things that we need to talk about. I have like notes because this was a long video. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. I don't want to start by saying, and I think this kind of sums up my entire feelings on the series, and I think I'll expand upon it as we talk, but I think this video, the finale, was the perfect ending for a series that I don't feel like I watched. I feel like I didn't watch a series that had like this ending. I feel like this ending was good for something else, okay? Looking back and reflecting on all of the videos that have been posted, because I think this is like part 6, part 5, I lost track. Part 7, I don't know. Looking back on all of the videos that have been posted, I think there have been some really high points where I found things to be really interesting and really entertaining and great. And I think there have been some low points of not quite understanding what's going on. I feel like there were storylines that just kind of fell off. I feel like there were parts that we were going to talk about that we just never did. I felt like the ending implied that this was going to be kind of a full circle moment for Shane in finding his own self-worth, in, you know, realizing that he is loved by the community and kind of coming out of his shell and understanding the value that he brings to situations. And in that aspect, I think the finale was very good, but my problem is I don't think the story leading up to this necessarily captured all of that, if that makes sense. So it started obviously with the montage of the drama channels and his Instagram live story and freaking out about the drama and a very kind of brief overview of the drama that happened, kind of his reaction to Tati's video, his reaction to James's video, but very brief. I think that whole part only took up like 6 or 7 minutes of the actual video. So it was a very brief kind of nod to the drama that happened and did not at all really talk about Jeffree's role in the drama. There was like a very brief clip of Jeffree saying he was glad that he didn't talk about the things, basically what he said in his video, but it didn't really bring any real clarity to that situation, didn't give a behind the scenes look. And to be honest, I think that's fine. I think it's okay that he didn't touch on the drama. Here's what I don't think is okay, and here's what I hope Shane has kind of learned from this experience going forward. He shouldn't talk so much about what the series is going to be, because it's very obvious after watching all of these series kind of unfold and after watching all these things happen, it's very obvious to me that that Shane, while he goes in with a vision, his vision changes like a lot. And you can tell that as things progress, he kind of changes where he wants to go with things. So I feel like it's really important for him to maybe acknowledge that about himself, acknowledge that the plans that he might have had weren't gonna work out, and not put out these trailers that show things that he wasn't gonna put in, not set a plan for himself, not set an upload schedule for himself that he knows he's not going to be able to maintain. Because in the Instagram Live, he initially said that he was gonna post 2 videos a week, and that didn't happen. So don't set those things for yourself and set yourself up for failure in this situation. I think had Shane just dropped the videos and not given any sort of explanation, not given any sort of like idea of what it was supposed to be, I think it would have been a more enjoyable experience for him to upload the videos and to create the series. And I think it would have been a more enjoyable experience for us, the fans, not having any expectations. My boyfriend says this a lot. He's always like, I have very low expectations for things. So that way, if it's amazing, then I'm surprised and I'm happy. And if it's bad, I'm not upset. And I think that that should be the rule for Shane's series from now on, is we should all go in with no expectations. He shouldn't be giving expectations, and that should be that on that. Because I think the reason there was so much drama surrounding should there be drama in the video is because of that initial trailer. And the drama that was talked about, it wasn't, I mean, I didn't find it very interesting. I didn't really, it was like, oh, they were shocked at what she said. You know what I mean? I feel like all of this could have been avoided. And I hope in the next series he does, if he does another one, I hope this type of stuff is avoided by him just not saying anything and us just like letting it happen, like watching it as it happens. I think that would help things. So after that little drama aspect of it, it went straight into launch day, which this I was actually very excited to watch unfold, because in one of my last videos talking about kind of reviewing, I reviewed like what I thought of the collection, and I talked about my experience on launch day, which was my mom and I were desperately trying to get her and my sister a palette. We needed 2 palettes. It was a mess. Like, I was on that website and I was watching the clips of the other people being on the website, and I was like, yep, that's exactly what my experience was. So I'm glad I wasn't the only one. I will say, and I'm gonna say this right now, and I don't mean to sound rude, because it was stressful in a sense, but I do think watching people cry over not being able to get the palette, or cry and get really like a reaction, like a real reaction and upset, is a little extra, and I think it's a little, I don't know, it's just, at the end of the day, it was exciting, and I was honestly just, I thought it was cool to like be in it, like in that situation. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, it was a palette, and like, while that does suck, it's not like the end of the world, and I don't love that it was painted as like, this is the end of the world if you couldn't get this palette. A couple of interesting things to note about the footage from the launch day. The countdown and everything, like all that happened, and that was, you know, the pressure was rising. It was getting exciting, but it was kind of like a movie you know the ending to, so it was kind of like you just want to get past all that excitement, because I know it's about to all go up in flames, so I just want to see what happened. Products weren't getting uploaded to the site in a timely manner. The sites all like immediately crashed. They showed the sites immediately crashing, and there was an interesting part where after all of this craziness, Jeffrey is like screaming at Spotify and like Spotify. Jeffrey is screaming at Shopify and everybody's yelling at Shopify, and I understood that frustration. I think some people could perceive that as being like really rude, and like, is it rude to yell at people? Yes, but when there's like literal millions and millions of dollars on the line, I can kind of understand Jeffrey's frustration of like losing out on potential sales, because like, he doesn't know the situation online. He didn't know that people were waiting. I can understand that frustration. If I had millions of dollars on the line and Shopify was trying to like screw that up for me, I would also probably be pretty angry. So I wasn't mad at him for getting angry. But then Shopify offers an option, which is they know that they have 2.5 million people sitting in line to buy the conspiracy palette, to buy like everything from the collection, buy all this stuff, right? Shopify offers the option that they could kick people off of the site, and then they could process things faster, and then Jeffrey's team would be able to see the behind the scenes analytics. Because if you guys don't know, I think if you didn't know how websites work, that might have been kind of confusing, but like, they have a back door where they can see all the analytics. They can see what's being bought, they can see how much they have left, like all of those things. Shopify offered to kick people off so they could get access to the back door, which is what they were asking for. They wanted to see, make sure everything was up. They wanted numbers. Like, I understand that. In my opinion, and maybe I just don't understand how this works, and I understand why maybe this seems like a mean thing to do, but if you have 2.5 million people sitting on your website, right, and you know that you only have like 600,000 conspiracy palettes, at that point, I almost feel like you're doing everyone a favor by not wasting their time anymore. Because like, does it suck to get kicked off the site and not get the palette? Sure. You know what sucks even more? Getting all the way to checkout after waiting for like 2 hours in this virtual line and then still not getting the palette. I almost think, I don't know, I would have preferred, if I wasn't gonna get one, I would have preferred to be kicked off and not waste my time. Because I think that's what a lot of people were mad about. It was like 3 hours in and then suddenly it was gone and nobody could get it. So if they knew far in advance that a lot of people who were waiting in that line were not going to be getting that palette, I don't understand why they didn't just kick people off. I get that it seems mean, and I understood Shane's perspective of like, there's people waiting in hospital beds, like I'm not gonna kick kids off the site. At the end of the day, I think it would have made more sense to just tell the people who very obviously weren't gonna get it. I felt the same way when I was looking at the lines at the Morphe stores. I was like, at a certain point, they don't have this many palettes in stock. So at a certain point, I feel like they should be telling people like, hey, if you want the conspiracy palette, if you're past X point, you're probably not gonna get it. Like, you can go home. You don't have to waste your time. That's just how I feel. I know that's not how like business usually works, but that's just how I feel. I feel like it would have made more sense to get people off the site who very obviously were not going to be getting the palette. Also, I just want to point out here, I watch a lot of Ryland's videos, Shane's boyfriend. I love Ryland, and I always have really loved Ryland, but this series made me really love Ryland and also really like Jeffrey's boyfriend, Nate. I don't really watch Jeffrey's videos, so I don't really know Nate very well. He seems like a very like calming and very good presence in that room, and so did Ryland. They were both trying to keep things like light and help the two people in their lives that were very, very stressed, obviously. When Shane had to kind of leave the room and like decompress, Ryland went after him, and there was a really cute shot of them like talking outside. I don't know, I really loved that. I loved seeing like the genuine, I think a lot of times because a lot of influencer relationships are they're filmed for the purpose of being put online. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reason that you're filming it, is so you can put it online, and there's a very like, almost, it's not fake, but there's, even with me and my boyfriend in our videos, like that's not how we actually are in real life all the time. Some of it is, but some of it's not. It's, you're putting on your best face for the camera. And I thought seeing a genuine moment between Ryland and Shane and Nate and Jeffrey, seeing those genuine moments, seeing them genuinely, organically as couples, I thought that was really cute. And I really like Ryland. I really do. Ryland is like so sweet. So then they go and they go on their plane and they go to their meet and greet. And this is kind of what I'm talking about with the full circle moment, because after the launch day officially happened and they get to the meet and greet part, the flying on the plane part, you could kind of see how they were trying to do that full circle moment. There was a lot of flashbacks to the first episode where Jeffrey and Shane went to the meet and greet. That was Jeffrey's meet and greet, and now they're going to the Jeffrey and Shane meet and greet. It was really cool getting to see, there was flashbacks to Shane's first time on the plane to now being a little bit more like confident. There was flashbacks to him standing in the background at the Morphe store meet and greet when Jeffrey's like waving to the crowd, and now there's a shot of him walking forward, being the person at the center of it. So I could see what they were trying to do with that full circle type moment. And in that respect, as far as Shane finding his self-worth, I do think they did kind of accomplish that storyline. Again though, because I feel like there was that whole thing with the trainer that they were trying to do, and I was really invested in that storyline. I thought that would have been really cool to see, like, Shane has always talked about being self-conscious. I thought seeing his kind of growth in that way, I thought it would have been cool to maybe see him do like beauty guru things, because that's what I thought the series was gonna be. Thought it would have been cool to see him infiltrate a brand trip, you know, get $1,000 for posting on Instagram or however much money he could have made. Like, I thought it would have been cool to see those things, and maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but there wasn't enough substance for me to truly feel like that full circle moment had come, because I felt like half of his previous videos were storylines that didn't go anywhere, and the other half were kind of advertisements for the palette or talking about the palette. Kind of wish one or the other had been picked. So in that respect, I think Shane is very good, and I think this is his gift, is making people feel the emotions that he wants to feel, because I was watching it and I was like, that is so sweet and awesome. Like, I love that he is so confident now, because when they put it together themselves and they made those distinctions themselves in one video, it all made sense. But then when you watch the rest of the series, there's like a piece missing that just doesn't add up. And I think that's kind of where the disconnect for me came in, was after thinking about the previous episodes I had watched, I don't feel like they developed the story enough to get to the ending that they got to. I hope I'm making sense when I talk about this. It makes sense in my head, but like, who knows? Then they, after the Morphe meetup and everything, and they say goodbye, and Ryland got his private jet pics, which was adorable. I love Ryland. He's so sweet. They kind of like went their separate ways, and then they had another meeting, talked about the success of the palette. I will say, and I'll give credit where credit is due, I'm not a fan of Jeffree Star Cosmetics, but I will say that like, he's not wrong. They absolutely had, I would say, one of the biggest launches in makeup history. I cannot think of another launch that's happened that's caused this type of frenzy to get it, has this amount of palettes sold. I can't think of anything like remotely close to this. So for that, congratulations to Shane and Jeffree. I mean, it was, regardless of what you want to say about the palette itself, regardless of what you want to say about the marketing with the series and everything, it worked. They sold out of, just with the mini controversy and the big conspiracy palette, they sold over 1 million palettes. That's insane. I've never ever heard of numbers like that before from any brand, literally ever. So that's crazy. Congratulations to them, because that's insane. I will say there was, I'm so mad about this though. So that all happened, and I was like, good for them. Like, actually, like, good for them. And it was a funny moment where Jeffree was like, why aren't we on Ellen? This is the part that I actually was like, that is dumb. And I don't like that. And I think that's a bad idea. So Jeffree announced to Shane that they were going to redo the mini conspiracy palette, controversy, sorry, get them confused. They were gonna redo the mini controversy palette, and they were gonna add in that green shade that everyone was freaking out over, because I don't know why. I hate that idea. I think if they wanted to do something like that, and Paige actually said this in her video, and I thought it was a fantastic point, why not either make the green shade a single, which would make so much more sense, and they would probably sell a billion, and they could also get like those out quickly. I feel like you could get single shadows out quickly. Why would they not sell that as a single? Or why would they not take a bunch of the shades that they kicked out of the palettes that people were very interested in? Because there was a few of those. Why would they not take a bunch of those shades and then put them in a smaller palette and sell those out? They would have made so much more money, and then it wouldn't have felt such like a money grab. It feels so money grabby because you just had like 500,000 people buy this mini controversy palette, and now you're like, sucks to suck, you don't get that green shade that you all probably wanted to. I think that's so dumb. I hate that idea. I hate the idea of redoing the controversy palette. And also now there's people who maybe wanted the original controversy palette, and now they'll never be able to get it because it's just gone. The way you marketed it is gone. There's so many better ways they could have gone about adding this green shade in and incorporating the green shade, because I think the idea of incorporating the green shade back in some way is a cool idea. People flipped out over that green shade. They freaking loved it. I thought it was really pretty. Like, I think incorporating that in some way is not a bad idea. I think the way they went about it feels very money grabby, because now you're gonna have a lot of people who are going to want to buy both of the palettes and have a ton of repetitive shades when they don't need to. I don't know. And changing the packaging, like, I don't know how I feel about brands after hearing the public opinion tweaking. It kind of feels like very similar to what James Charles just did with his mini Morphe palette release, and that got crapped on. And now suddenly it's like, well, they're revolutionary for listening to the consumer. No! It's just as bad of an idea to do something like that. I hated that idea. I think fundamentally it just doesn't make any sense, and I wish they weren't doing that. And that's just my opinion. Just as final thoughts on the entire series. I don't think this was a bad series. I definitely liked this one more than I liked the Jake Paul series, but that could very well be because I actually am way more interested in the subject matter of this one than I was in the Jake Paul one. So I liked this one a lot more than the Jake Paul one. I do wish things had been different. I felt like no matter what he did after that Instagram Live, people were going to be let down or mad about the series. And again, I really hope that Shane as a person, after he takes a break, because I would need a break, after all of this attention. After he takes a break, I hope he learns from maybe some of the criticism that he's been getting, and also learns from just himself. Like, know yourself, know where your strengths lie. His strengths don't lie in being consistent all the time and being consistent with his uploads and, you know, knowing exactly where he's going with things. That's never been his strength. So I think embrace that, own it, make it a part of your brand, and don't give everyone these expectations. That's how I feel about that. Please let me know what you guys think about this whole series down below, because I think it's been a really interesting, wild ride. I'll link all the videos where I talked about the other parts down below as well if you guys want to watch them, and yeah. I love you guys so much. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social medias, and everything I am wearing on my face will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right, you can click on that link. You can go register to vote, and you can be the change you want to see in the world, and you can vote for that green shade to be taken out of that. I'm just kidding. Please vote for real politicians and vote for things that really matter. This doesn't really matter that much. I love you guys so much. And oh, and if that link does not apply to you and you live in a different country, please make sure that you're staying informed on what's going on in your country. Make sure you're doing what needs to be done and using your voice in a positive way, because the world really, really, really needs more of it. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!